Well, it's both Coop cleanout time, so it's a good opportunity to make a video for those that were asking about the plans. Of course, the plans are somewhere. If I find them, I will put a picture online, but for now, I couldn't. But it's very simple. The yellow guy is my duck house. The red is the chicken house. So I'm just cleaning it out, so it's going to be easy to show you. And I think if I go wall by wall, you will understand why there's really no need for plans. So let's go with the interior. Everything is done from the point of view 4x8 sheets of lumber. So if you look at it, it's 4x8. So each side. So you have this side 4x8 sheet. The floor is also 4x8, sandwiched on studs. So you can see that. That's the bottom. So there's insulation. There's studs and 2 sheets of 4x8 plywood. The sides, again, 4x8 sheet. You just put it up, and then the trusses are 2x4s, 8-foot lengths, cut in half at angle 45. So again, the roof is 1 full sheet of 4x8. So you can see it's coming down over here, and I've left some margin so it doesn't rust. The water, even if it drips and icicles, it's not. And this is like, what, 4 years old now? So these are the trusses in there coming out. Again, separated. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them over here. Going to the back, same thing. We'll talk about electricity and all that. 4x8 sheets of plywood. Let's go on the interior. The sides to protect the corners, 1x3s, and glued and stapled together to make a 90-degree. Pasted on and caulked. I definitely don't want moisture getting in there with the winter. So everything you can see is caulked. The vents, everything caulked. This, I thought I'd have an overlap, but what I'm going to do is cut this off and put some caulking in there, because when I move these things around, they slide into each other. And see that? Here we go. Cut right in here. So I'm going to cut it off and fix it up. So once again, where you put your window, how big it is, it's up to you. This is the one I had left over from the kitchen project. Put it in here. Wheels, obviously you don't need wheels. I had those wheels so I can move them around and sweep underneath. Overkill, if you ask me. Don't need to. Roosts. You see this clunky, awkward looking thing in the door? That is because initial build, it was just studs. There was no insulation. Once I put these panels, these, I call them the fencing slats, cedar slats for fencing, it made everything smaller, so now they were too close to the wall. Interior boxes, whatever you want to do. I have them on the inside. If you leave them on the outside, by the time I get back from work, they're frozen because they're not insulated. There's actually a chicken in there. Let's get to show you my roosts. 2x2s. I mean, I think they're 1x1s. Yeah. So I've got these hangers from 2x4s, and that's so easy. See, for cleanup purposes, all I have to do is put this guy in there like so. On the other spot, there it is, one roost in. Hey, chickie. She's a little broody. You're broody. You were already broody this year. I know, you need to come out. No, you're still gonna be broody again. So, that's one. I'll put both in. Now, we've had a really hot summer, so I'm gonna alter. I have one window. I'm gonna put a second window on the other side. So I found some online that are I looked something specifically narrow. So it's gonna be 16 inches high and 32 inches wide. So I'm just gonna build it right in here, and it fits perfectly between the studs. So I'll cut this out here, go to here, and that way it's gonna be between the two roosts right there, and will fit up here. This high one, they love going on the higher. So I'm going to avoid all my electrical wires, which you can see they go at one level from here. The hookup is outside there. It goes all the way around, and then comes straight down here to this outlet, and then it goes up this outlet here. I don't even remember. That's a good question. Obviously it doesn't go through the window. Maybe. I'd have to look at my initial plans, initial pictures that I took when I was building that. I would predict that my electric cable, instead of going up here and over there, it came from this side, went across the top, came down, hooked up here, then down, and here. So the electric cable might be on the bottom here or on top of the window. I don't remember. Let's put the roosts in for them. Ouch! Get some hay going in. So here's my long one. So this goes in here like so. And here, come on, there we go. Probably a lot of shaking going on, like that. Now the two last ones, right there. So basically, once you figure out you've got a 4x8 sheets of lumber, you decide where things go, and that's that right there. Obviously, you need to make it level. And you'd be surprised how things don't match. So this guy needs to come over here, right there. And this guy goes here. Let's tweak it. There we go. And I got one more, but you get the idea. Simplicity, and it will hold a lot of chickens. So everything I learned building this coop, I improved on the duck house. So you see that line there? When it's straight, I overlapped it, make it look more professional in the duck house. That's one thing I did differently. Window, the slats over there, homemade. Now I just got the regular heater louvers. Big thing that I should have done is look at those gaps. It was still wet, so I put them straight from the hardware store in here. I would have waited for them to dry out, because you can see insulation underneath there. So that's one thing I would have definitely done the next time around, especially this gap. Look how big that gap is. I would have waited for this thing to dry out. See the bits over here, how I put the triangles in. Leaves a little more to be desired. Linoleum is a must, especially in duck house. So here in the chicken house where it's dry, their poop is not as wet, doesn't really matter. But in the duck house, what I did is I folded it and went 2 inches up the wall, so it's more of a tub, so it won't get any of the moisture out, won't rot the wood, prevents any molding from happening. Heater, no matter how many people say whatever it is, it's bogus. It's not going to catch on fire. It's like a little furnace. What it is a cinder block on a couple of pavers, half a cinder block cut out, and here we go. See that? Just a reptilian heater coil. It is so well insulated that I have it set up on, and this is the only reason. There's 2 pavers here. The only reason I have this metal, because when they poop on it, it's much easier to clean it off. Just scrape it off when it's done. And it's hooked up to a thermostat. Again, online, Amazon, Lux thermostat 2000, I think it's called. Because it gets so warm, it will heat them out. If it was on all the, I think it cuts off at 55. Before I had it, even in the coldest winter days, let's see what we got here. We got like almost 80 now. It would go over 70, so it's way too hot for them. So this is what it looks like. Let's go into the electric hookup, and of course we're going to talk price. But before we do, this is an automatic door. So to move this contraption, once it's closed, you see this bar, metal bar. All I have to do to pull it, it's hinged on here. I pull this bar. Now I can just pull it, the whole thing forward. Obviously, I'm not going to do it with one hand. I guess not. It stays put. And let's put this back before I hurt my back. So here we go. Automatic door, a chute so that the snow doesn't blow in. Let's put this back in here. That's about it. Electricity. I have a pigtail coming out. That's all it is. Real simple. Where is it? Right over here. And it's all joined by just an extension cord because that's only 200 watts. So the pigtail, where's my exit? This is the original. This is the pigtail here. It comes out from the house. So the pigtail goes into this little stripper bar, because all the power goes everywhere else. This goes into the greenhouse over there. This guy here goes to the duck house, to another stripper bar there, providing the power. All right, let's go to the duck house and show you the improvements. I haven't cleaned it out. So their entry is here because I have a ramp. If you saw my other videos, for the ducks to get in. Bigger window, mistake, because it's so low to the bottom. The ducks poop and squirt on it all the time. Hard to keep it clean. So next time I would have done it, I would have got the window up to this height, but wider, much wider. Same principle. I'm going to make a window on the back. Insulated door. As you can see, much more professional looking, especially in the back. I got some straight angles, overlap the louvers. No nonsense as one line here. I took the roosts out for the turkeys, the same principle of roosts out. Heater's the same. This is what I call my splash guard. As you can see, it's like a plastic I don't know what they call it. If you Google it and go to any hardware store, they sell them in 4x8 sheets. This is a lifesaver because the ducks poop and squirt like crazy. So now I just come in a spatula when I clean it. See that mark there? All I'll gotta do is come with a spatula and clean it. And because my Muscovies roost up there, they squirt all the way back on this door. And you can see I just scraped it off by hand. Actually, I'll put one up so you can see how high it goes. This is just a little roost. So put it in here. So now you can see if they sit up here and the door is closed, they're squirting back there. So this is about 2 weeks. I definitely don't want to go more than 2 weeks cleaning it out because the height keeps piling on. With the chickens, I don't add any hay, very rarely, but with the ducks I have to add constantly because it's all wet, even though it kind of seeps down, but I don't want them trampling on their poop, so I keep adding and adding. So by 2 weeks it piles up. As you can see, it's pretty high up here. So from the chicken coop I'll just have one wheelbarrow, and from these guys I definitely have 2 wheelbarrows. So that's identical except for the modifications. Like I said, the floor goes up under the walls. Same thing, 1x3s, caulking. Vents are so much easier, so much less maintenance. All I have to have is the lever, and I'll close one vent in the winter if it's really cold. Keep the heat in. Hey turkey, you need to come out. Got a broody turkey in there, and she is not giving up. She doesn't have any fertile eggs. She's sitting without any eggs. She's still insistent. The electrical wiring, as you can see, I don't know why, but I may put it down lower, so I definitely know that it goes up here, all the way down, drops there, goes back up, and then I think it goes straight across this way, because I initially dropped it there, changed my mind, so I didn't feel like putting new boards, so I just covered it up. So that's a blank spot. There's nothing in there. A little better with the boards, as you can see, much fewer cracks. Is learn and improve. But they're getting another window too, 32 inches by 16 wide. Not only will it give them more sunlight, insulated window, but it will have a cross breeze. And like I said, if I find those plans, I will post them. So now price, because I'm sure everybody's interested. Everybody's got a different hardware store, but the big box store, whether it's a Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware, similar prices. So wheels, Hamilton casters, they're expensive because they're heavy duty. I didn't want any Chinese knockoffs falling apart. So the wheels themselves are $50 a piece. So that's $200 you don't have to spend. Now, if you talk about money, of course, the roof is the most expensive part. Window, I don't know, $75, $80. This one I bought. So if you add everything together, so 2 gallons of paint, because this is white and red, this is yellow and green, the 4x8 sheets of lumber, all the vents, electrical wiring, sockets, outlets, what else comes in? The 2x4s, the nails, everything. And I'm very confident on that price. And if, again, a gallon of paint is $25, so that's a bigger chunk. So the entire 4x8, which is sturdy, hurricane proof, compared to the ones they sell out there, You see those tiny little coops that are $1,300-$1,400, no insulation, and all from wafer board. So if they get wet, you know what happens with wafer board. This is all thick uh, sheets of plywood. I think it's the I definitely think it's the half incher, maybe the 13/32, just under half. I'd have to look, but I hate particle board. I would never do anything with particle board because once it gets wet, it dissolves. Anyway, long story short, the entire cost, of course, the screws for the roofing, all the parts that you see, is just over $500. So I think it was $550, $535. You cannot buy something this big, this quality, if you do it yourself at that price range. It just will not happen. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them some hay in here and clean out the duck coop. And like I said, if I find those plans, they are somewhere scribbled. I apologize, my drawing is not that good, but again, as long as you remember 4x8 sheets of lumber, everything goes around that. You make your base, you put the studs up, you put the studs 4 foot high, you have the roof, you have 8 foot 2x4s, split them in half, 2 sheets of plywood. I mean, it's really idiot proof. 1 4x8 sheet in the front, 1 in the back. So let's see, how many sheets do you need? You need 1, 2, 3, 4 for the walls, 5, 6 for the roof, 7, 8 for the floor and the bottom. 8 sheets of lumber, cut it out, roof, you're done. So if you have time, construction is quick. It's just the little things later on, the finishing inside, the insulation. Oh yeah, and plus the insulation. I forgot to add the insulation is also part of the $500 total. So, and that's a good gosh, I don't know these terms, 20, whatever the standard, again in the box store. I took the pink insulation on the roll. All right, I guess I'll finish it over here and we'll have the plans if I find them.